We threw a party in a building called Hang Art. It was just busted and broken down. It was so fucking good the first night we threw it that the next night we threw another one in the same spot. And twice as many people came. There was so many moments when everybody would just be like, can you believe that this is happening right now? Like, that we are here and doing this.
Somebody showed me the Galactic Center and I thought, this is a sweet, sweet spot. Like, everything about it is just an amazing spot to hang out with your friends, you know, I think. I met Elio because I think he came to one of those and I was like trying to DJ and entertain people and do too many things and I was just an idiot. And he's like, why are you doing such poorly organized things? And I said, because it's fun.
Basically, at the center, there was the love and passion for music that Ben and I shared, and this need to like showcase it to the outer world, like the Tucson world.
A friend of mine showed me house music, and I knew what it was, I knew what it sounded like, but it wasn't until I ended up at Playground one night and saw Ben and Elio play that it really, like, literally and figuratively took a hold of me, and I'll never forget the experience of that night. It was insane, like, it was so crazy to me.
There was definitely something right for whatever happened to have happened, you know, like it was, we were the right people at the right time and we made the right, you know, choices and mistakes at the same time, like for Dazed and Confused to kind of like pop up and, you know, gain momentum.
It was like a mushroom cloud of like just explosion. Like we were at the forefront of it. The scene in Tucson took a form that I have never in my entire existence seen, and that I never thought was possible. It was adrenaline heavy. It fueled you to the next one. You're like, man, that was so fun. We gotta do it again. It was like getting a tattoo or something.
That shit was a beautiful night.
You know, the way that we listen to country music here, they listen to funk or to soul or to disco or to music that really much more speaks to me in other parts of the world. And I thought, as much you know, I'm putting all this effort in here, but at the end of the day, I feel like that I don't really have exactly the same taste as as most people here, and sometimes that can be really exhausting. You know, when you, I don't know. I thought, yeah, this is like, you know, I can stay here and I can pour my energy into this thing, which is mine and which makes a huge impact and is. You know, and it's complete. Yeah, it's completely ours. Anything, the future is ours in Tucson. Or I can go and sort of and try to, I don't know. I guess I kind of ran away.
First of all, like it's a process and a never-ending, like evolving process that it's not that I have, you know, long-term plans of I want to stay here and like I want to do this. It just kind of like happened more, and now we're seeing where this is going. Like I don't know where is it gonna go. Like Tucson was the right place for this to happen. I don't know if it's gonna be the right place for other things, for the next, level.
There seems to be a gross negligence to intelligence, but I'm a monster, so I can't find the relevance. Pitching tents in a forced the light post, beating on my chest and I'm ready to boast. Overcome by the outcome of life moving forward. Talk to the bitch, but after sex she gets awkward. Make my bed, start to ache with my head. Sometimes I feel like the sun's keeping me dead, so I breathe in and breathe out until the world hates me. Love making love, but it just drives me crazy. Keystone leads me to the tombstone. It's the X that'll lead me to the group home. It's the lack of focus that helps me notice. Got a lot of work to do, but it all feels hopeless. Keystone leads me to the tombstone. It's the X that'll lead me to the group home. It's the lack of focus that helps me notice. I got a lot of work to do, but it all feels hopeless. Uninitiated / people that don't know, tell them, what is it? What are you pushing buttons on? What are you pushing buttons on?
We used to do a night at Mr. Head's every Friday, and it lasted like 5.5 years. And then when that night ended, I didn't want to just do another like DJ night. I was kind of bored of it and over it. And so I talked to Rock, we got together, and just kind of like, we've always talked about doing a pushing buttons type night like that, where we bring out the gear and show people, and it's like chords, and it's a huge wow factor, And it just worked out. He was down with it. Talked to them at Flycatcher, and from then on, and it picked up really quick.
The noise scene now is just, it used to be the 6 of us or something, when I was starting out. And now I'll see like shows booked and I don't know who's playing. The first time I played with Pushing Buttons, I showed up and there were so many people there, and I was like, oh, this is a big deal. I thought it was just kind of a thing, It was a fun thing to get invited to, and I didn't expect it to be as huge as it is, but they've really done so much work.
And the more people that played with us that was just into electronic, it would just kind of realize, hey, we're using all the same like analog gear, synths, samplers, drum machine, like everything. We're using the same gear, we're just making different music. And so they would come out and be like, oh, you use a Juno and a this, an MPC to make hip hop? You don't use your MacBook, And I'm like, nah, fuck that shit, And it's like 3 tables of gear. And so I think a lot of the electronic heads kind of respected that, and we kind of other people started noticing it too and brought it together.
Won't cut me no slack, so I pull back the hammer, put it to my head, and contemplate a world with me laying dead. And my song ain't changed neither. Mama said it'd be days like this. I just don't wanna believe her. So now I'm a perceiver of all things evil, and it makes it hard for me to meet nice.
I had come to Tucson, and I did some traveling, for music outside of Tucson, then came back and met some people and helped to open a nightclub in Tucson in the foothills called Level. And tried to program, some underground music and keep things, for me, very legitimate and authentic. I would say it escalated for me, and then I went to do another nightclub a year later called Pearl, and then another nightclub called Centro. And those things combined with my time at KXCI with Electric Feel, that allowed me to really recognize that there were different eras in the Tucson electronic music scene and the ways that people wanted to consume the music.
Really appreciate you tuning right here to Electric Feel. Show 357 coming to a close. I'm joined here with Ben Spencer. Ben, I enjoyed your set earlier tonight.
Hey, thanks, man.
So in 2015, a pretty key thing happened that I think was influential on the scene in Tucson. That was myself and my colleague Elio Sotoscritti, we started the night Chateau Disco. And that was an event at the Flycatcher. That was a monthly club night based around deep house and techno and tech house. And so he and I partnered on that for a few months. We eventually went our separate ways, and Elio and some other people went on to found Dazed and Confused. And for a while, in early 2016, both Chateau Disco and Dazed and Confused were both active and giving people some really high quality options.
I'm fascinated by, especially ultra-modern functionality, as well as architecture that integrates with functionality, because so much of it, for me, is maybe not functional. Well, that was the genesis of the space, and it resonated as first an event space. We had a variety of artists come, including Steve Bugg, and that was amazing for me. Shauna Halligan, some incredible artists played there that I loved being able to program and do things in different genres, just with a really nice sound system. And then recognizing the opportunity existed for an underground club that had a good sound system, that had approachable drink prices and a very friendly staff and an all-welcoming, inclusive environment that drew artists, was such a blessing for me to be able to do that.
Right after 2002 or 2001, I forget the timeline, but they were doing a lot of desert parties here. I heard all about it. Everyone was like, yeah, go out to the desert. It's awesome out there. You'll be fine. I come out here, it was like crickets, man. Around 2009 to now, I mean, the underground culture that was here has kind of become a little more polished and mainstream, more of a college audience than underground culture to me. I mean, fucking Red Bull, sponsors stuff, and which is great. I mean, it's what, like, me coming from the 90s, it's what we always dreamed and wanted. But I think that it's not exactly what we wanted. Now I'm happy to be doing stuff with like Tang at Good Vibe, with Christian, stuff here at Passe that's more away from the big concert hall with stacks and flashy lights. I mean, we still have that, but it's different. It's got a vibe behind it again, and it's really made my heart feel really good this past year.
So a few years back, a decent little crew of us, and a lot of the group kind of extended outside of Arizona, but the majority of it was really stationed within Arizona and largely in Tucson. We decided, hey, well, let's let's have our own event and let's like get some cool sound and like have some good music and like get all of our DJ friends, because everyone is a DJ or knows how to DJ thanks to like the birth of like controllers that just make it really easy to just be a bedroom DJ. Once we started doing that and realizing how much fun we were having and how much energy people were willing to pour into this thing without really getting any monetary compensation, we realized that like we had something that we could actually run with. And it's basically just been like a constant escalation from there.
I'm just all about dedicating what I can to developing a healthy electronic scene here, and it's not just like EDM or techno or house or bass music. I don't really want to differentiate. I want to make sure that all of those subgenres and subscenes have a nice little sect within the community, but also that we have a nice healthy electronic scene within the community that, you know, it's not necessarily the same 20 people at every show you go to.
Summer's Day, you evade, handing out flies in every which way, giving the 411 with words I say. Hand it a 4, cause she looks like she needs more. Good on the outside, but better in the core. Smiling.
You could look in our crowd and see any single kind of person, and that was what made it, I think, was it became a hangout. Like, it became the place where I know I'll see you there.
I think there's more integration and more cross-pollination between all the different cliques or all the different genres. I think people are fucking with each other more. The techno kids, you'll see them at rock shows, or like the beat kids, you'll see them at like a random like noise show. Everybody just is integrating and taking that as like they're nodding to each other's styles, and I think that's really making people grow. I think everybody's sound is affected by that in a really unique way.
I think Tucson is very close to being the perfect size for a very fluid scene. Not enough people into like strange dance music here to have a super successful strange dance music scene. So that means that everyone who's into anything has to go to other shows. You can't just go out and see rap shows, you know, because there's not quite enough of them.
There's a few different crews that are all like pooling together, and everybody's kind of coordinating and not necessarily going against each other. And see, I think we can all get along and everybody can have a good time.
But I always go to this shit, you know what I mean? We all in the same community, so it's all like, you know what I mean? You'll catch the same people at my shows at their shit, you know what I'm saying? It's Tucson's a little supportive community.
I've had some like electronic producers play hip hop sets, thinking I wanted hip hop, and I was like, no, you can do whatever you want. And they were like, oh, well, I make hip hop too, you know? And it's like, we didn't know that. And I've seen a guy in an MC, he came up to him and was like, what is this? I've never, you know, and he just gave him the music. It ended up on his album. So yeah, I feel like we still will connect for sure, and I think it's just gonna get bigger and better.
I think it's beautiful, man. And now we've all formed relationships.
One thing is gonna pop on an international scale and shine this huge light on Tucson, and then the finance people are finally gonna say, okay, well, I need to, instead of just thinking I can open this place and fund it for a year, I'm gonna fund it for 2, because it'll take that long in Tucson. If you wait another 5 years, it'll be a year, because the people who've grown up now with electronic music on the radio think, yeah, well, I don't really want to go to raves anymore. I don't need to go to festivals, but I'd kind of like to go have a couple of beers in a nice club, listen to a good sound system. Well, where can I do that? And in Tucson right now, you can't do that regularly. You can occasionally, but not regularly. Now, I think it's escalating with David's space, and I'm so thankful that he is doing what he's doing, because he's creating this next thing. When I come back, I'll come back sometime and it'll be, hey, did you hear about this place that opened? And I'll be so excited.
Having this scene that's constantly renewing itself and having different scenes within the bigger scene helps keep it fresh. Having monthlies or having bi-monthlies at our space is only going to help things, and we're further away from downtown. It's not just people after the bars looking for somebody to crash or to score or, you know, to go home with a girl or something like that. So, you know, it's sort of those things, like people are coming because of the music, people are coming to dance, people are coming to experience the art, and I think that is the most valuable thing to me.
Did their last show, which was their secret show at a hookah lounge, and then everybody in Tucson stopped throwing anything over the summer because there's just nobody here. But I'm crazy enough to be like, nah, I'm fucking here, so I'm gonna party. So I found a DIY punk venue that had like no speakers and no equipment or anything, and it was literally like somebody's fucking living room that they just cleared out and would let people throw like parties and venue like shit in there. And like it was mainly used by punkers. But so we used that venue. We had maybe 22 to 30 people show up in May, and then the next month we're like, all right, we're using solar, and then we had like 60 people show up, and then we used it again the next month, and we had 100 people show up, and then the next month it was 130, and then 150, and then we threw a free show where like 200 people came. We didn't know how to promote for nothing, and now we just put out like some dumb shit video of us doing something dumb, and all of a sudden we've got 700 views, and it's like, oh, why didn't we just do that in the first place? So now, stay tuned for more dumb shit, I guess.
Fuck. What's up, dudes? Alright. Let me tell you. Fucking drive. What are you doing in my drive? What is going on?
There's people here in Tucson. It's not just the 40,000 kids at the U of A who all disappear in summer. It's actual Tucsonians. There's, I don't know, more than 10 high schools for sure in Tucson. Those are all people that want to party, right?
first got here, I was just bringing sound systems to existing club nights that already happened. We did stuff at a club called Sharks on Sunday night. It was house music. Fat Entertainment got their start shows there and stuff.
Is Shark still around?
And no, it's a different venue now. It's closed and long gone. Came down here, saw how the scene was a little bit, and thought that it could use a little bit of a boost. I thought it was a scene that was on the rise, but actually was a scene that had been way bigger and was on the down, but it needed a little revitalization. So I came and brought some sound systems and some extra energy and different things that I did to where I was at. I had a basement studio. It was like a recording studio, but it was a pretty good sized basement room, and so we'd have events there on the weekends where we had up and coming DJs play that maybe couldn't get places to play, and it was a pretty good run for the spot.
Tuesday, from what I've heard, is started in Mexico. Forgot the DJ's name. And I have some friends that do it in Vegas, of course. And then I've been wanting to do it. We just never had a facility to do it at. So then I talked to Ronnie about it. And he's like, let's do it here at Batch. I thought it was a little too small, but it's a great way to start that, the vibe, get it going. My favorite DJ in Tucson is Hart. And for me, like, his techno is like on point. He's open for a few big names here. So we asked him, and he's like, yeah, for it, on it. So he's our resident. But then, of course, we have our little guys that don't normally play techno. It's like, dude, I want to play techno. So they want to play. So I'm booked the DJs until May of next year. Just DJs that just want to play. So it's pretty amazing, just like for the love of music. I pay them in tacos. They go for it.
Even since the early days, it's always been a struggle in Tucson to keep things going. Like, even back then, there was really only 2 clubs doing electronic music, the rest was hip hop. And like back in those days, to promote, you had to get the club owner to basically print flyers for you, which was pretty hard at most times. And if they did, it was all about guerrilla marketing. So you had to go out there and hit the streets and promote and everything like that. So it's always been tough. There's been times, I've been DJing for a long time now, like over 20 years. And there's been a few times when I've wanted to quit just because it's such a struggle in this town. There's the old saying, hometown heroes, which, yeah, there's hometown heroes, but they never get popular. You don't get popular until you go out of your own town.
I feel like it happened in this one night. So he had been teaching me for like a year. He had a show, and it was at Batch where he was up on the loft, and you're kind of stranded there. So he was like, I need to use the bathroom. Just play one song. I'm gonna use the bathroom. And I'm like, I can't do that. And I was nervous to go up the ladder. It was already kind of a big ordeal. So I go up there, and he's like, just one song. I'll be right back. So he gets down, goes to the bathroom, and comes back and just leaves me there. And he's like, yeah, you could just mix. Just keep mixing. The song hadn't even played to the end, so I haven't even done anything. And I'm like, I can't do this. Come back here. And he's like, you're good. So that was my first time ever playing out because I just played that night and it ended up going really well. Okay. All right, so anyways. Okay, so I'm actually starting monthly at Batch, which is really cool because it's not just music, it's the other thing I like, which is, well, it's baking. I like sweets, so it's called Beats and Sweets, and it's every first Friday at Batch for now, and like I put all this work into it, like it's kind of embarrassing, but I'm putting a lot of time into this. I'm creating a donut. And like I went through all their whiskeys just to see like what flavors are gonna pair with it, you know, like I put a lot of time into doing like every little part of that. So that's one thing that's new. I didn't think that would be happening. So speaking of like the future and growing, that I don't know what will happen with that. But I just really want to be able to do that and like, I don't know, interact more because now I have like a lot more friends that I know that will go out to these shows like to see me, which is weird. I'm still really weird about that, but it's like it's gonna be fun, so I want to do it, and yeah, I hope it goes well.
In terms of Tucson, do you think it's ever gonna be like in LA, like a club?
Man.
It's gonna be like, or do you think it's always gonna be this like this scene where it's like underground or it's like, you know, we don't know what's next kind of thing? Like, what do you see for Tucson, just in your opinion?
Just when you were explaining that, I just got really emotional and thinking about how special Tucson is, and it doesn't really stand to try and be something. It's like, sorry. It's what I really like about it. It's a incredibly magical place that just accepts anything that the earth gives it, and it returns with magical people, food, music, arts of any sort. I agree. I don't think it's a destination. I think people find themselves stopping by, sometimes stopping longer than they planned, learning a lot, and I think taking away what Tucson has given, like a bunch, like Tucson gave me a bunch of tools to live by in all aspects of my life. And I think that's what happens with a lot of people that go there. They pick up a lot of the open-mindedness that really resides there.
Alcohol, women, gambling, you name it, I've had it. I've tried alcoholism, I've tried religion, I've tried the works. I've tried missions, they don't work. I've tried the AA, it doesn't work. You tell me.
With tobacco and a feeble attempt to be James Dean for a second, and never was that cool. Just another fool, rarely took the opportunity to hop up and skip school. Lay down on the corner where the green grass grows, and nobody knows where my mind often goes. Dazed and confused, and often I lose track of time. I know it ain't mine, but I play it like it needs to be played. Just the same old tune of the man in the moon and the silver spoon. I lullaby myself to death when I breathe, and the dreams that I have are hard to believe. Smoke rings taking me away from harmful things. It brings me to a pause, a need for applause, or at least for a small golf clap. Cause I ain't never had a chance to get my old life back. Ragtag trying to numb things that I can't feel. And when it comes to this life, sometimes it ain't real. The headaches, the long breaks, empty plates, the mistakes, all shapes follow me. The quality has never bothered me. So I just sit and watch as the leaves keep playing, laughing and smiling while the day makes its way in. Attention to date, I'm not paying. Closing my eyes just to hear my girl saying,
Tucson has such cool people in it that I think it really could. That's the thing that I miss is having stuck around to see like the evolution of what, you know, of starting something small, and that's a big thing. I mean, knowing that you poured all of everything that you had into something, and that it actually took off to some extent and grew, and like 20 years down the line, maybe it will matter. I don't know, probably not. But
the one thing that there is, I think that there's energy and space. So these are two things that, two like resources, you know, raw resources that you need for a movement, something to happen.
I've grown up in a big city. I actually came out here for school with my wife, and we decided that we like the smaller community. It is a lot of opportunity for us to do something and make a difference. I love being in a town where you feel like you know people. I mean, 1 million people are in this area, but I have felt very connected. I feel like you could go downtown and always see someone you know, maybe even an official, you know, or just a DJ friend, and that's something that's unique to a city of this size.
Just the simple fact that it's a much smaller town means that the people that are involved have a chance to be more prominent than they would be in some huge scene like LA or Berlin. So, you know, chances are I would never be able to be on an FM radio show if I lived in Berlin, probably.
I love Tucson. You know, it's mellowed me out, and it's opened up my creativity to a place where I don't think I'd be able to have the space that I need in New York to be as creative as I am.
Never had time to be someone better than me, so I continue to be the person that you see. Acceptance is nothing like rejection, but the plan of action juggles them both with nothing to lose. Too often I'm stuck on the train tracks trying to choose. When no choice comes to launch the bruise to the ego. Not too many people go where we go. I like to make sure I know the best of people, and this is hard to find under layers of clothes. I suppose no one knows when my mind off the ghost. Secret weapon, life continues to be a blessing. As long as I can accept my failures as a lesson, I can teach when taught and deliver a plot that's breathtaking, groundbreaking, and path-making. And sometimes that shit's hard to do when your world comes crashing and they don't believe in you. But if you stop trying, then they stop trying. If you stop living, then they start dying.
There's two sort of ways that you can sort of exist as an artist here, and there's not a lot of people in between either. The second you hit the 150th like on Facebook, like you're booking it to LA, or you know, people just stay here, and you know, they've got other stuff to do in Tucson maybe, but there's a lot of bands that just like do the Tucson thing, and they get big in Tucson, and then people stop going to the shows in Tucson, you know, and it's like, it's really great to be here, and it's like a fantastic place to get support and start, and like also to be a sort of casual artist, I guess. If you're working in a cafe 30-something hours a week, you can have a band and pay your rent. So while like you get a ton of support in Tucson because it's so small, it doesn't quite have the inertia to push you out of its orbit sometimes.
He was the first to introduce the thought a better life consists of things we've bought.
And it's in the DNA of this place, I guess, that it's hard for something to like just thrive and then become stable because of the nature of this place. It's a place where people come and then move on and, you know, and go somewhere else.
This could, in all honesty, these things never make it a year, man. It's a big to-do that it's actually gone this far. I mean, the Days of Confused name has been carried on through the horseplay over at Playground. And that's a big deal, man. Tucson's such a niche market. It's either it hits or it dies instantly. Same with the restaurants here. They hit or they die. Even if they're a big hit, sometimes they just fizzle up. I hope this goes long for them. I really do. It'd be nice. I can say I was that guy. I was part of it.
You have all these like small pockets of like, you know, few hustlers trying to like make something happen, and then, you know, they're not backed up by, you know, people with resources that invest in them and give them the proper spaces or like the proper, you know, so it all just ends up being like little bubbles of, you know, energy that burst, and then something new comes up.
I recognize that there are a variety of people who have come into Tucson for a moment and they leave an imprint and they resonate among other people, and that allows this bubbling current to continue to not only escalate but to now reach some prominence outside of Tucson. I'm, as I reflect on it, talking to you about it, feel that Tucson is very blessed with some very artistic people. It is a spiritual place. It is a healing place. It also is a place that allows people to be ambitious and comfortable, which, because it resonates at a little bit of a lower frequency than even Los Angeles, which I still think is a kind of a mellow place in comparison to New York, Tucson resonates at this frequency where people can come and take lots of deep breaths and then utilize and really focus on their right brain.
So I finally think I figured it out about Tucson. Like, Tucson thrives on this pop-up lifestyle. And once people start to figure that out, that things don't last forever and that's okay, and we can capitalize on the idea of consistent reproducing and consistent rebranding and consistent, let's give it a couple months and then give something new, and that's okay. As soon as people start figuring that out, this place is gonna be more stellar than it already is. It's a pop-up town.
We have, I think, found these blocks of time when people get really excited about it. They're at that age, they're in college maybe, and the scene goes up while they're here, and then they move on. There are definitely people in Tucson that have stuck around Tucson that keep things going, but there are going to be ebbs and flows.
There is always the wave, and the wave happens because people are out and they go out for a while, they get older, they get jobs, they have kids, and they stop going out. You need a new wave of people, right? And that's just the way it goes. Not all of us stick in it forever. For me, it's a part of who I am, and I have to be in it. It's never, I don't see a point in time where I'm not going to be doing it.
But eventually, just the fact that people here, they get bored, and then they start looking for new options, and then the big dogs start to dwindle and new pockets start to form again, and the cycle repeats.
Our generation and the generations that are coming up behind us have a new mentality of acceptance, of artistic freedom, of building relationships, of networking, of experience. We're so thirsty for experience.
I want to keep popping up in different parties, and maybe I'll throw some of my own parties, we'll see. There's a lot of crews in town where I really flow with what they're trying to do, and I think that it's a positive thing, and we'll just have to see.
My instinct was let's create a place where we can play the music that we love, and we can give the people the chance to see if they like this music by experiencing it. We're gonna give this experience to people, see if they actually like this music, because guess what? Everywhere, in many places in the world, this music is the music that people love, and the music that makes their heart beat. So why can't it be here?
I think this in its entirety, this music, DJing, meeting the people that I did, seeing the things that I've seen, single-handedly saved my life. And I don't mean I was in any danger to harm myself or anything, but I was on a path that just wasn't me, and I would have been lost for the rest of my life had I not found this. So I am eternally grateful.
This stuff doesn't happen because you want it to happen. It happens because you find other people that are like you, and together with sharing the same love for the music, you construct, you build, you become a phenomenon, a cultural phenomenon. We're not doing this for business. We're not doing this for money. It's not our job. So life happens, and you can only sacrifice so much of your time and effort and money to something. And when the initial like strength, like burst of energy kind of like fades and goes down, then what's gonna keep you going?
I think Merci was a little early in Tucson. I think Centro was a little early. I think Level was early. I don't think of myself as a pioneer. I think of myself as an early adopter in all the types of aspects of my life. I'd like to see and say, yeah, this is an opportunity. I'll always, be happy that I had the opportunity to do that. I have some little bit of melancholy, emotions about it. I just realize I'm not supposed to be a nightclub owner, and that is, I'm okay with it, and I'm blessed to have had the opportunity.
I think people are really inspired in Tucson, and I hear a lot of people talking about the future of Tucson, or just the future in general, and whether it be about sustainable living or techno music, it's always wanting to be on the forefront of something. And I think what's really great about Tucson is that it's a blank canvas where a lot of people are open-minded, maybe because there's a lot of space around, so nothing else really going on that would disturb a great idea or tell anyone that it's a bad idea.
But if there's one thing, I'm sure the only thing I know is that all of us who are so passionate about something that we're trying to do it on the side, and we sacrifice time to it, we all wish that was our one and only. And in a way, we're all trying to shift, hoping, dreaming that one day that passion, that thing that you've always called hobby could become your job, your source of income and stability and whatnot. That's the dream. Only a few people can achieve that, and that's what we're hoping to reach.
It might not look the same, but I feel like it will always feel the same. I want to believe that it will always feel the same. And much like when we started, and the people from the 90s came out of the woodwork who were here, the old ravers that were left over, and they were like, where the fuck have you been? We've been waiting for you. Same thing's gonna happen, like when these kids take this off and we come out of it and we're like, where have you been? We've been waiting for you.
Millionaire, but I'll make do, and I don't got a supermodel wife to go home to. I'm just an honest man, and it's something I've learned. And if you're worried about me, please lose your concern, cause I'ma be alright. I can feel it in the sun, cause the smiles and laughter where I come from. And it's true, I might not fit your idea of success, but this is me, and oh Lord, I am at my best. This is us at the best. Climbing out of the dark. So much to prove in shows. We just had to wake up. It's all the love, and the life, and the laughter, pain. It's the morning after.